Often your first step to making a lot of money is to define processes and systems around what it is that you do. This is something that I do all the time, but I don't talk about it enough. I don't share this with you enough. And so I guess today's episode is one step towards rectifying that. A huge secret to my own success as a copywriter, as a marketer, as an entrepreneur has been to define systems around my writing, around my campaigns, around my client work, around building my business, around publishing things, around everything that I do. And, I create the systems and I follow them. And even my creative work, like I said, systems around my writing, right? Even my creative work is often based on process. And so I just want to explore this a little bit with you in today's episode. I think that if you listen carefully and you practice what I am preaching here, you're going to get a ton of value out of this. So let's dive in.
These are the proven direct response marketing, copywriting, and entrepreneurship success strategies you can use today to write your own ticket and create the life you want. I am Roy Furr, and this is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Now, here's today's breakthrough.
All right, today's episode, as usual, sponsored by me. And I want you to check out the very first link in the description to training that I actually had my coach do. My coach, Joseph Rodrigues, runs a wildly successful YouTube channel, and he was my coach for years. We would meet weekly, and one of the major things that he helped me do was just really internalize the process of defining processes and systems around productivity, around my business, around everything that I do. And it was one of many things that he helped me do as my coach to reach pinnacle performance. And so I had him actually pop on for my BTMS Insiders members and do a special training called Pinnacle Performance Habits. Now, this covers way more than processes and systems, but when you get into scale, that's what so much of success is about, is the ability to identify, okay, this is something we do on a repeatable basis. How can we make it more of a process, more of a system? And that training is a great place to go to install this thinking in yourself to make you more successful. It's also part of the BTMS Insiders training library, where you pay one low monthly fee. You get instant streaming access to Pinnacle Performance Habits with Joseph, as well as over 170 hours of additional training. You don't have to try and fit it all into your first month of membership. You can just stream what you want, binge what you want, take little nibbles at what you want. It's all there for the taking, with instant streaming access to the entire catalog. Again, the links are in the description. Let's dive into processes and systems. They really are your secret weapon if you want to be able to scale beyond just working hard in the moment, the work that I do, right? I know that sitting down and saying, I'm going to create a system for this, I'm going to create a process for this, feels maybe not natural for many entrepreneurs. There are people who their brain naturally thinks in this way, where it's like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to cover all the little details of this. And often they become project managers, or they become, some type of organizational role. That is not typically the I'm going to go start a business and fly by the seat of my pants entrepreneur, right? So, man, especially when I think of processes and systems, even entrepreneurs like me who are great at creating them are not great necessarily at following them. And so our biggest strength often comes in at least identify, we come up with an idea and then we recognize there needs to be a process or system built around it. And then either we need to build that and hand it off to somebody else to implement, or we need to have somebody else build it, maybe with us, and then they can help us implement, or whatever. However we go about creating them, there is a huge power in creating them and perhaps even getting help in implementing and following them. And honestly, this is the biggest step in the growth of many businesses, is identifying this need, from the very beginning. So oftentimes businesses are started by someone whose role is maybe the visionary entrepreneur, right? Like, I have a vision for something that needs to change in the world, and so I'm going to create this business, or like whatever it is. This person has this visionary role, right? They want to create something different, something of value to the marketplace. But then, when they actually try to implement, their ADHD is all over the place and they are not accomplishing anywhere near what their big vision was. So they say, well, I need somebody to help me like implement all of this. And so they bring on an implementer. That's the role. So there's the visionary entrepreneur and there's the implementer. And that's often why businesses that start with multiple founders are actually more successful than businesses that start with just one. Because oftentimes what happens is, in that multiple founder situation, somebody is more of a visionary and someone is more of a, hey, it is 8:13 on Thursday morning and here's what we need to be getting done, right? And oftentimes those two skill sets, if one person tries to accomplish both of them, they're not nearly as successful as if you have two people who are doing that. So with all of this like framing set up, I did want to share one money-making process and system example that I actually have on my mind today that inspired this episode. So I've been running these product of the month campaigns, and while on the front end to the general public, it basically looks like a series of emails that go out that link you to, either a product description and a checkout page, or even just straight to a checkout page. It's way more than that. So when it actually comes time to, put one of these on the calendar, there's a lot of things that have to happen ahead of time. There's funnel setup and building. There are more steps than most people see involved in that funnel. Anybody who's good at online marketing, digital marketing, funnel-based marketing will know what I'm talking about there. There's often many steps that once somebody makes a purchase, the things that go to it, or the potential pages that they could end up on. So there's that page creation involved with those steps. There's product creation associated with maybe multiple products throughout multiple steps, and making sure that those are all coordinated between multiple systems. There's cross-system automation and scripting, and making sure analytics is set up and all those things, right? All of those tasks. And then there's all the marketing stuff. All the multiple emails that have to go out, and email list suppression and all of that good stuff. And there's miscellaneous just administrative tasks and various technical tasks associated with these product of the month campaigns. And this is like very, very normal in the context of what I guess what a normal regular online marketing campaign is going to look like. And so it's something where, you want to do it once to make sure it works, right? You get the idea. Maybe you come up with a list, like a to-do list of the different components that need to get done. You do it once, and then you want to make it repeatable. So that's one of my tasks for today. We actually went through this a couple times, and basically we just copied the previous time. And it's already more efficient when you've said, okay, I've done it, and this is what it looked like, and we're just going to do that same thing again. Right? But it's going to be even better with the process laid out. And this is consistent. Like there's this book called The Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande. And he's not in marketing or business. He's actually a surgeon. And he's like international level consultation of how to do better surgery. And he basically came up with this idea that what if we implemented really just basic checklists in the surgical room, getting set up to do surgery, to make sure that we cover all the bases. And these are people who are extremely skilled. They are very adept at their job. Surgery can sometimes be a very creative thing as you run into new challenges, because every body that you're cutting open is different. And there are just all sorts of different variables that do require this high skill set for surgery. And so you might think something as simple as inventory all surgical items prior to surgery, and then another point on the checklist is inventory all surgical items prior to the final sewing up of the patient, or just wash your hands for 20 seconds. Those things are things that are okay. That's just normal part of doing surgery, right? Well, by implementing those checklists, Atul Gawande and his team of researchers, which by the way, they were completely resisted when they tried to implement these checklists at hospital levels. They were completely resisted, but basic checklists like this implemented in a medical setting led to dramatically better outcomes on average across their entire patient base. They improved patient health at the end of surgery by doing these basic checklists. And so anything you do is going to be better, even if the process seems obvious. It's going to be better with a process laid out, being thoughtful, being intentional about that. But then when we come back to business and marketing, right? How do processes and systems make you more money? I have a few different notes here. Number one is if you have a skill or expertise, you have work, you have a job, right? Even if you create a corporate structure and you're doing that work in the context of, I'm just this, I'm the skilled expert, right? You are still fundamentally just doing a job. If you want to create a business, and by that I mean something that is more scalable, it requires you to create systems. Systems are just fundamental to creating a scalable business that relies on more than just, hey, you are the expert. And if you just want a job, fine. If you just want, to be this wizard that is highly skilled at whatever it is that you do, fine, right? But if you want something that is bigger than you, even if that's just bringing on an assistant to handle some of your tasks, you need to create systems. You get more consistency. Like things are going to perform more consistently from time to time to time. Your results will be more reliable if you have a system. You're going to be less likely to run into unexpected roadblocks and disasters and catastrophes if you have these systems that you're following. You're going to be more efficient. If you have a checklist, you don't have to think every single time through the process of, okay, what comes next, what comes next, what comes next. Even just like way back in the day, at the beginning of me really getting into direct response copywriting, I got a checklist and I look up to this side of my desk because it's on my wall still. Like this was 2009, so 13 years later. It's a checklist of 20 items from Clayton Makepeace, a pretty darn good copy outline. And, I've talked about this in a few different episodes. I've talked about this on Breakthrough Marketing Secrets before. It's actually built into the thinking of my high velocity copywriting training program. And as a bonus to the high velocity copywriting program, I did a whole webinar on, here's how I followed Clayton's checklist. So it was 20 items, but I shared my entire thinking about that. One of the things that continues to be something that I use pretty much every time I write a longer piece of copy is his offer outline. And that's like the last half of the 20 item checklist. It is incredibly efficient for me to write any offer because I'm just like boom, 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 just going down fundamentally the same checklist. Yeah, it varies a bit from time to time. And, depending on product service, I may structure it a little bit differently, but using that as the starting point provides a ton more efficiency. Plus, you're going to get scalability. And that's one of the biggest things that we've been talking about through this episode. If you want to outsource any particular part of your process. So for example, these product of the month campaigns, I built the first funnel, but now I'm able to outsource it. I'm able to hand it off and have essentially most of the funnel done before I start sticking my fingers in it. Or if you want to automate things, there's all sorts of tools that are now available today that are available to you if you understand processes and systems and how to plug those into the tool itself. Plus, you gain this like marketing advantage when you have processes and systems, especially if you're doing client work. There is a trusted power in proven systems. So, as soon as you have created a, let's say, product launch campaign, right? Following a system, you could even borrow the system from Jeff Walker. He has a book called Launch, which is a great way to get into product launch campaigns, right? So there's this proven system. that instills trust that, hey, I'm following the system that's gotten these results. It won't necessarily guarantee you the exact same results every time, but it's a great start, right? And when you build a system, especially if it's a proprietary system, it can become your brand. It can become your advantage. It can become your USP, that I have this system that gets these results and nobody else has the system exactly like I have it, right? So there's this huge marketing advantage to it. And so in general, my call to action to you is to start systematizing everything, create processes out of everything. And it can be as simple as a checklist. It does not have to be super complicated. You create a checklist of these are the things that need to happen. Like even this episode has a checklist for things that need to happen. Now, eventually you might basically internalize the checklist and not necessarily have to go through it every day. Or you build the system like for this. I have a whole document that I create that is part of getting the episode published that essentially functions as the checklist in itself. But the whole thing about this call to action to systematize everything, it's just about planning and organizing your thoughts. It makes it shareable when you actually get it out of your head and onto paper. And so, with everything from marketing campaigns to, tracking your finances to how you actually invest your savings to all of that, the more intentional you can make it in terms of turning it into a system or a process, the better it will be. And don't forget to check the links in the description to Pinnacle Performance Habits with Joseph Rodrigues. It's great training, and one of the things that he will talk about and instill in you is how to translate your skills and abilities, your performance, into systems that will make you even more effective. I'll include a link to the Checklist Manifesto as well on Amazon, and I'll include a link to High Velocity Copywriting if that's interesting to you. The Pinnacle Performance Habits plus High Velocity Copywriting are both part of the BTMS Insiders members library. So you're paying one low monthly fee. You can binge both of them and everything else you see in the catalog. I'm Roy Furr. This is Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Every day and every episode, I'm here trying to help you increase your marketing genius, your entrepreneurial genius, and building systems and processes for your business will help you manifest and increase your genius. I'll catch you again in the next episode. Oh, like and subscribe. Yes, do it. Get more content like this. Yes. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you once again for tuning in to this daily episode of Breakthrough Marketing Secrets. Remember, check out the links with this episode for even more value. Now make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage in every way you can to keep this show going and growing and delivering daily value to you. I'll catch you soon for your next big breakthrough.